All right, guys, so we got to talk about a Democrat strategist who is saying things that really don't make any sense whatsoever. And by the way, speaking of Democrat strategists, right, I don't understand how they exist in this country, right? Considering how that group of people, right, the people that are employed in that job function, are some of the worst performers in the country, objectively speaking. Looking at Joe Biden's approval rating, Kamala Harris' approval rating, and the approval rating of the Democrat Party in general. I don't understand how anybody got the job title of Democrat strategist and be proud of themselves right now, right? Because they've been doing a terrible job. But anyways, the Democrat strategist I'm talking about, her name is Miss Danielle Moody, and she appeared on Al Sharpton's failing MSNBC show to discuss the Elon Musk situation, right? You guys know Elon Musk attempting to buy Twitter, right? And we all know the left has freaked out about this, okay? They really think that it's the end of the world because they don't believe in free speech, right? They don't believe in having opinions that they don't agree with be on that platform. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. They told us that. And this Democrat strategist here is going to show us exactly why she's playing on the losing team right now, as she's going to do a whole lot of weird mental gymnastics to make the argument that no. Elon Musk is actually the one that's against free speech, and him buying Twitter, taking over Twitter, is actually a threat to free speech. Take a look.
Heard a lot this week about billionaire entrepreneur and Tesla CEO Elon Musk, who has made a $43 billion offer for Twitter to, quote, build an arena for free speech. Musk has accused Twitter of censoring its users. Are you concerned that what Musk is trying to do is to open up the platform for more misinformation about topics such as COVID-19 and the 2020 election, and perhaps even allow former President Trump to get his account back?
I mean, I'm going to be honest. Elon Musk is a danger to Twitter and to freedom of speech. He has been known to say some of the most transphobic and homophobic things to his millions of followers. So creating an arena for hate, to me, that's what that sounds like, an opportunity for him to have no consequences, to have no flags, for people just to be able to do whatever it is and say whatever they want, with regardless of what kind of harm that it causes. So I think that this is something that folks really need to be paying attention to, because I think that Elon Musk buying Twitter or creating this quote unquote arena would be problematic.
Danielle Moody, David Jolly, thank you.
You know what I find to be so ironic here about this little segment from Al Sharpton and him basically saying, is Elon Musk going to allow Twitter to become a platform where people can push misinformation? It's the fact that he himself, Al Sharpton, has made a career out of misinformation, right? Because he's abused his free speech to push misinformation about racially charged events. In fact, he has a kind of long history of doing this, right? Back in 1987, the case of Miss Tawana Brawley, in which, she accused some people of, doing things to her that I really can't get details in on this channel. And turns out those claims was unfounded. But Al Sharpton stood behind it though, right? And pushed the idea that these claims were true. He did this again in 2016 when a stripper by the name of Miss Crystal Gayle Magnum accused 3 players on Duke's lacrosse team of basically, doing things that I really can't talk about here on YouTube. And those claims were ultimately found to be baseless. But that didn't keep Al Sharpton from standing behind her and pushing the idea that these people were guilty of something that they weren't guilty of. And we all can't forget 2014, 2015, right? Doing the whole Michael Brown thing, the hands up, don't shoot, which has been proven to be false, right? That did not happen. Al Sharpton went out there and pushed the misinformation that this did happen. So if the standard for whether or not you should be censored on Twitter or the internet or whatever is if you push misinformation, then why the hell does Al Sharpton have a platform? Why the hell are you on MSNBC? Why the hell are you allowed on Twitter? Because this guy has pushed misinformation that I could argue, in my opinion, has been extremely harmful, okay? Especially to those people who were wrongfully accused of Me Too, because people like him were out there accusing them of something they didn't do and making the public believe that they did something they didn't do. I can make the argument that Al Sharpton abused his free speech and spreading misinformation of black people being indiscriminately killed in the streets by white police officers. And that misinformation has caused numerous riots across the country that has resulted in people losing their lives, people getting beat up, hurt, businesses being burned down, and people's lives being destroyed. Okay, so if you understand how this conversation about pushing misinformation and the harms that come from pushing misinformation, yeah, we can have that conversation, Al Sharpton, because you are probably one of the number one perpetuators of pushing misinformation and misinformation that has particularly caused people harm. Okay, so this guy should be the first person to be censored if we're going by that standard, right? And what's also funny is that the misinformation that he cites that Elon Musk is going to allow people to push, particularly about COVID and the election, are exactly why you need free speech. Because the things they were telling us about this virus at the beginning of the pandemic, those same things are not true today, right? And when you don't have free speech, what happens is that you don't have an exchange of ideas out there that allows us to actually get to the right and correct ideas, right? Which could cost people their lives. Could cost people their lives. It also could, keep the economy shut down unnecessarily, like what has happened over the last 2 years, because you have so many people who have been fear-mongering into believing things that we know not to be true. And then he also mentions the election as well, okay, as if the Democrats aren't pushing their own election conspiracies, okay? The conspiracy that the Republican Party is actively trying to keep black people from voting, and that people's right to vote is under attack simply because states are requiring that you have an ID to vote, right? That's literally what the Democrat Party is pushing. That is the conspiracy. They're basically saying, without saying, that, hey, this election that's coming up in 2022, 2024, it's not going to be fair, right? Because the Republicans have basically rigged the election in their favor. That's what the Democrats are saying. They're making those false claims, okay, about the election. So again, I find it so fascinating how this person is so concerned about misinformation when the Democrat Party are probably the single biggest pushers of misinformation in this country, period. Now, on to this Democrat strategist and the goofy things that she was saying about Elon Musk, right? Basically coming out and saying a bunch of things that a lot of the blue check Twitter leftists were saying about free speech. How they believe that free speech is actually the right for them to take away other people's free speech that they don't necessarily agree with. Otherwise, you're a threat to free speech if you don't believe in their right to take away your free speech, right? You guys get how this works? They don't believe in an open forum. They don't believe in exchange or the battle of ideas, which I find to be hilarious because these are the same people, the left. They claim to have all the facts on their side. They claim that the American people is on their side and that everybody agrees with them. And I'm like, okay, well, if everybody agrees with you, why are you trying so hard to silence the other side? Why are you trying so hard to silence debate? If you want to debate, if the American people agree with you, why are you trying to silence any type of dissent? I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. Because again, if your ideas are right and people agree with you, then you should be able to easily win a debate. It shouldn't matter what the other side is saying because you're correct. But see, the problem is they know they're not correct. They know that their ideas don't stand up to scrutiny. They don't. So that's why they don't want them criticized. Just like they didn't want anything about COVID criticized. Any of the stuff regarding the lockdowns, the mask, the vaccine, they don't want any of that stuff criticized. Because at the end of the day, they know, well, if we actually have a debate about this stuff, maybe the leftist narrative falls apart. Maybe our authoritarian power goes away when people find out that, hey, some of this stuff might not necessarily be what people are saying that it is. Which tells you guys what this is about. Free speech is a threat to the authoritarian left. It's a threat to their power. That's why they're so gung-ho about stopping Elon Musk from buying Twitter, because they know that Twitter is one of the most influential platforms there is, specifically when it comes to politics, okay, and public opinion when it comes to politics, right? And because of that, again, they don't really want an open debate. They don't want that, okay? Because an open debate, again, is a threat to the authoritarian power. That's what it is. That's what it is. And remember, these are the same people that when these platforms are censoring conservatives and conservatives are like, yo, this is not fair, right? This is against the spirit of free speech. Oh, well, they're a private company. It's a private company. This is capitalism. This is the market. This is what you guys want. But then when the market actually starts to do what the market does, You have a billionaire comes in and tries to buy Twitter. All of a sudden, it's unfair. All of a sudden, we shouldn't allow this to happen. Shouldn't allow it to happen. Okay, it's the end of the world. So I want you guys to understand the left here. When it comes to this whole thing, it's the free market when these companies choose to censor conservatives. Okay, but it's not the free market, right? When Elon Musk chooses to try to buy Twitter. All of a sudden, they don't like the free market anymore. Free market is bad. Free market is dangerous because Elon Musk wants to allow free speech. And allowing free speech is actually a danger to free speech, according to this Democrat strategist. Do these people even hear themselves, right? Do they even hear themselves? Like, how do you go back and look at that recording and say, oh, no, that made sense, right? Being for free speech is actually against free speech, right? I don't get it. And then she accuses Elon Musk of being homophobic and transphobic. And I don't know where she's getting this from either. Like, this thing where, you know, Elon Musk is accused of being a closet homophobe or transphobe because he doesn't like pronouns, right? That's literally what it is. He made a couple tweets about not liking pronouns. He also put out some tweets where he used like the NPC meme and like the NPC had like the rainbow flag or something like that. And people have extrapolated that to mean that the dude is a transphobe / homophobe, right? So she's in that video there. She's making Elon Musk out to be extremely homophobic and transphobic. Like there's a whole record and documentation of him saying things that can be deemed to be homophobic and transphobic. And then when you do a quick Google search, you're like, what is she talking about, right? Where is the homophobic, transphobic stuff here? You talk about some tweets and which you have to do some extreme extrapolations to come to the conclusion that the guy is somehow homophobic or transphobic. And again, no surprises considering how, again, this is a person that believes being pro-free speech is actually being anti-free speech. Again, these people are absolutely insane. They cannot be reasoned with. They can't be reasoned with. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.